Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Katie. In today's video, we're going to be doing some air dry clay projects for fall. So I haven't done a clay video in a while, and I love just coming up with simple creations for you guys with air dry clay because it's just so much fun to work with. It's really affordable and you can make so many cool things with it. So I decided to come up with a few projects that you can create for your fall decor this year. So hopefully you guys will enjoy it. Let's go ahead and get started. For all of these projects today, I'm using this Crayola air dry clay. It's my favorite kind to work with, and I love that it's really affordable and lasts forever because it's such a big container. To start the first project, I took a large chunk of clay and started to form it into a ball shape. I find that the best way to do this is to work on softening it up in my hands and then alternating that with rolling it right on my work surface. Once I got it rounded and smooth, then I set it on the table and pressed down slightly to create a flat bottom and more of a wide shape to it because that's the kind of pumpkin shape I'm trying to recreate. Now to make the pumpkin lines, I used some embroidery floss. I set the pumpkin down over one piece and then pulled the ends up and tied a knot, pressing the string into the clay. You don't have to pull too hard, you just want to make some slight indentations, and I repeated this process with multiple pieces of string. You can see the pumpkin shape starting to form now. I tried to space them as evenly as possible, but it doesn't have to be perfect. The less perfect it is, the more authentic it will look. Once I finished this step, I pushed down slightly on the top to make it even more wide and just kind of played around with the shape until I was happy with it. Next, I cut the string and removed each piece. I like the way this looks, but I wanted to smooth out the lines a little bit, so to do this I just used some water and smoothed out the hard edges using my fingers. I didn't want there to be visible space where I had removed the string, so this step really helped to fill that back in with a little bit of clay and water. If any of them got too filled in, I just went back and used an extra piece of string to make the indentation a little more pronounced. But basically, this is a whole trial and error process, and if you make any mistakes, it's really easy to fix, so don't stress too much about this part. For the stem, I used a small piece of cinnamon stick, so I just pushed it down into the top, and then removed it again while the clay dries, which does take about 24 hours at least. I wanted to create a smaller pumpkin, and I decided to try a different technique this time around. I used a bigger piece of macrame cord instead of the embroidery floss, and I only used one piece instead of multiple. So I wrapped it around the first time and only pressed it into the clay very slightly. Then I tied a knot and wrapped it around again, and continued doing this all the way around the pumpkin. When I was happy with how it looked, I removed the string and began the process of smoothing out the lines again. I found that using a small paintbrush also helped to speed this process up, and I was able to be more precise. Again, I added a little piece of cinnamon stick for the stem. I think using the larger string really helped to make the pumpkin look more realistic, so I'd recommend this second method over the first. I actually liked it so much that I went back to the first pumpkin and redid the lines using the larger string. I then filled them in using water and a paintbrush, and I'm really happy I did this because now the two pumpkins match. Once they were dry, it was time to paint them, which is always the fun part. You can paint these any color that you want. I'm using acrylic paint, and I mixed a reddish brown color with some white paint, which created this gorgeous terracotta color that I love for fall decor. I used this on the larger pumpkin, and the clay really covered nicely with the paint. I didn't even have to do 2 coats, which was great, and it also dried fairly quickly. Once it was finished, I added the stem back in. For the smaller pumpkin, I used a gray color, which I thought would give it almost a concrete look, but would also be a good neutral color to go along with more traditional fall decor. I'm super excited about how these little clay pumpkins turned out, and I can't wait to make more, especially because they can be used year after year. For the next project, I started by rolling out a ball of clay. The size of this will depend on the size of your leaves, so grab a few leaves that you like from the backyard and use those as a guide to tell you how big of a piece of clay you'll need to roll out. Once it's big enough, then you can lay the leaf down and press it into the clay. You want to press hard enough that all the edges are fully stuck to the clay, and press hard enough that all of the details on the leaf will be imprinted in the clay. I used my clay knife to start cutting around the edges of the leaf, and I took my time to make sure that I was being really precise here. Be sure to press hard so you get a nice clean line. For me, this is the most satisfying part, removing the leaf to see the perfect shape in the clay underneath. I went in with my paintbrush and water again to clean up any rough edges and just smooth everything out on the sides where I had to cut it. Now to create the dish shape, I turned a container upside down and kind of let gravity do its thing. I basically pushed the edges down lightly to help it out, but you'll want to leave this overnight to dry and to take on this rounded shape on the sides. I found a bunch of really pretty leaves in the backyard, so I couldn't help but make one more dish, and I'm going to decorate them differently. So once again, I pressed the edges of the leaf into the clay and then cut around all the sides to make that leaf shape. This time I used a candle jar as the base to dry the dish upside down on. I really loved that terracotta color that I used on the pumpkin, so I mixed some more of it up for the first dish. Again, I just think it's such a pretty color for fall that can go with so many other decor pieces and complement them nicely. You don't have to paint the bottom of the dish if you don't want to, but do make sure to get all of the edges that are curved up so you don't see any white peeking out from the sides and bottom. So this is looking cool already, but I did pick up these gold flakes from the craft store, and I've been looking for a way to use them. I added a small amount of gold flake adhesive to the edge of the leaf and then let it dry for 30 seconds until it became tacky. Then I used tweezers to add a small amount of the gold flakes to the leaf. This takes some patience, but eventually I got enough on there that I was happy with it. I finished the process by brushing it with a dry brush to remove any excess flakes. I debated doing this around the entire leaf, but personally for my style that would be a bit too glam, so I decided on just a few sections of it. I think this will be a fun pop, but not too overwhelming. To finish off the second leaf dish, I kept things very simple by mixing up some yellow and white to create this nice muted yellow tone. I love this color for fall and think it will be fun to style with some white pumpkins or some dried florals. I can't wait to place these little catch-all dishes around the house and find fun ways to style them. So you guys know what to do. Let me know in the comments down below which one of these was your favorite. Was it the little clay pumpkins or the clay leaf dish? I would love to know which one was your favorite, so let me know in the comments down below. And of course, if you're not following me on Instagram, go ahead and give me a follow. I love to share sneak peeks, behind the scenes footage, and little polls over there. So it's super fun, so I would love for you guys to head on over to Instagram and follow me. It's just my name, @KatieBookser. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, what are you waiting for? Make sure you hit that subscribe button and the little bell notification so you can be one of the first people to know whenever I upload a new video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.